Hey there everyone, how's it going? My name is Nova Aurora, bringing you another Battlefield 4 gameplay commentary today. This is a round of Siege of Shanghai Conquest using exclusively the tank, or rather I edited it down to using only the tank, because I noticed I hadn't really showcased much vehicle gameplay so far on the channel, so I decided to basically make a video of just vehicle gameplay because I think it was entertaining enough and it's a nice change, so I hope you will find the same. Topics for today's video are going to include actually something related to the tanks, that being the active protection countermeasure, and what I think about that, because I think it's definitely one of the more controversial things that they added to Battlefield 4 from Battlefield 3, and I'm not exactly happy with what I'm seeing so far of it, even though I admit to using it. As you can see in this video right here, that is the countermeasure that I'm using, but I'll explain why that is later in the video. I'm also going to be talking a little bit about upcoming series I plan to be doing. If you remember, or rather if you even watched my second live gameplay commentary I put out a few days ago, I had said that I wanted to do a more interesting, unique, and compelling version of the live commentary that wasn't just me running around doing normal gameplay and talking over it. So I'll be talking a little bit about my ideas for that, and also my ideas for maybe another series or two that I think would be interesting and fun to do. But for now, I do want to talk about the first topic, that being the active protection upgrade. Now, for those of you who don't know or maybe haven't unlocked it yet, what the active protection upgrade is a countermeasure that, when activated, will essentially detonate incoming explosives before they hit your tank, preventing the vast majority of or all of the damage that they do to you. It's not like a flare or a smoke screen that will divert the missile or the explosive and keep it completely away from your tank. No, well, actually I shouldn't say just tank, because this upgrade is available on many different classes of vehicles. It's available on the IFVs and the attack boats, as well as the mobile anti-air and the main battle tanks. So it's certainly not tank exclusive. But anyway, what it does then is, instead of deflecting the missile, the missile continues right at your vehicle and will then just detonate before it even gets there. So you might be thinking, how is this really that much different from a flare or an ECM jammer or a smoke screen? The result is really the same, isn't it? And the answer to that is yes. For regular lock-on weapons like the Javelin, for example, or the MBT Law, it will basically provide the same effect of dispelling the incoming missile and protecting you from the damage, and then having a cooldown timer before you can use it again. But as you can see right here, I'm just about to activate it in a fight with this LAV. It also completely deflects all of the incoming tank shells, LAV shells, and TOW launchers that are coming at your vehicle in a fight. Think about that for a second. It doesn't just apply to lock-on weapons, it applies to all weapons that have an explosive capability towards your vehicle. That, in my opinion, makes it overpowered and, to a certain degree, broken. The reason why I say that is because, as you saw in that fight with that LAV there, even though I did eventually get blown up by the tank who came up behind me, I was able to engage the LAV, activate the active protection, and all the damage that all of his weapons did to me was completely nullified, and he could not do anything about it. Even if you're perfectly accurate, you will not be able to damage the enemy vehicle with active protection as long as he has that upgrade activated. I just think that that is not fair at all. There you can see that with activating it against a regular rocket launcher that's not a lock-on, it works the same way. If you see any sort of explosive coming at your vehicle, you can just activate it and it will completely prevent all the damage to it. This is not like the smokescreen flares or ECM jammer that only work on lock-on weapons. That is the main difference. This works on everything, essentially. And yes, I am using it, like I said, I admit to using it, and you can say that I'm a hypocrite for taking this position and then using it, but the reason why I use it is the same reason why I used reactive armor in Battlefield 3, which I also thought was a rather silly upgrade. And that is because if you come up against another vehicle that is also running the active protection upgrade and you don't have it, you're basically completely screwed, because he can activate that, and you either have to let your shots do no damage to him at all, or you have to just sit there and wait until the active protection runs out, and you can't do anything in that time while he's just sitting there hammering away at you with whatever he wants. So it's sort of this catch-22 situation where, yes, it's overpowered, but then you're forced to use it even though you might think it's kind of cheap to use it, because if you don't and you come up against someone with it, you really have no chance at all. Like I said, I made that comparison to the reactive armor in Battlefield 3, where you could rotate your tank around if it had active reactive armor panels, and they would completely absorb the impact of an incoming tank shell. So if you came up against an enemy tank who was smart about using his reactive armor, and you didn't have it, he could just point his reactive armor side towards you, you'd shoot it, you'd have no choice to shoot it, essentially, and you wouldn't be able to do any damage to him while he was able to continually damage you in the fight. And I thought that that just was not fair at all. So, what do I think should be done about this? Honestly, my initial reaction would be just take this out of the game completely. It's an objective upgrade, in my opinion, over the smoke screen or the flares, the other countermeasures that these vehicles get. To me, it doesn't seem like there would be a reason to use those other ones that only work against lock-on weapons when you could use a countermeasure that works against all explosives. Of course, DICE probably isn't going to do that, and maybe they could replace it with something if they did decide to do that, but I can't think of something reasonable they could replace it with, so I can't really complain too much and say, oh, they're not being creative enough, because I can't think of anything myself. But then again, it's not my job to be developing the game for them, and I'm not trying to develop the game for them. I'm just pointing out something in the game that I think should not be in there, and I think is detrimental to the overall experience because it forces players to use a certain thing. And you should never be forced in a game like this to use a certain upgrade like that. Anyway, that's all I have to say about the active protection issue. Really quickly at the end here, I'd just like to go over the couple series ideas that I had mentioned I'd like to try out. And those are for the live series. I would like to do a sort of live commentary silly series where I just try out some sort of ridiculous kit that I am just not very good at or is not very practical, and run around trying to do something really fun with that, because I really like the idea of that. I'm also going to do, hopefully, a series of the single player where I do just a montage of funny moments in it, because let's be honest, it's not a very good single-player campaign. Nobody thinks it is, and it's probably going to be pretty hilarious, and I want to showcase the hilarity of the single-player campaign as much as I can. But we'll see how that goes eventually. Anyway, guys, that about wraps it up for this video, so thank you very much for watching, and if you have any feedback on these ideas, I'd love to hear it, and I will see you all next time.